So let's talk about magic, the Western kind and the Eastern kind. Western magic has kind of dominated our culture for most of the 20th century. And yet, these days, Eastern concepts of magic are becoming more and more in vogue, especially in pop culture. And when I talk about magic, I'm talking about both the fictional kind of magic and the real magic. Magic with a K, right? The type of magic that grown-ass adults take very seriously. When I talk about Western magic, I'm talking about that, that Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones type of magic where there's like spells and incantations and people are looking for these ultimate tools of power. It's that magic that's based mostly on European pagan mythology merged with the advent of Christianity. It's where Beowulf and King Arthur comes from. It's a period where a monotheistic worldview started to dominate the world stage for the next 2,000 or so years. But within that monotheistic framework of magic, there's often battles for the one truth, of good versus evil, of separate powers fighting for scarcity for that one holy land. And then you search for these unique mythical magic objects of externalized power, like the Holy Grail or the Spear of Destiny, wands and swords and staffs and incantations and spells learned and passed down from one generation of wizard to another. This magic is always received from the external one reality in order for you to manipulate that same one reality. It's like that one ring to rule them all. But Eastern magic, it's a little bit different. Generally speaking, Eastern magic is something that comes from within yourself internally, and it flows out of you to change the external world. And now I'd argue that because Eastern religions always kind of kept their polytheism intact, that's why it's possible. Because when there's many gods, there's also many more realities. And instead of fighting for one truth, there's many truths. There's an abundance of truths. This is sort of a world claiming to be more about pure abundance and an unconditional presence, where nirvana can happen in your own lifetime. And these ideas are not exclusively in the realm of Eastern religions. Monotheism flirts with the more esoteric understandings of God at times. Christian mystics like Meister Eckhart, Sufi poets like Rumi, Jewish philosophers like Walter Benjamin, they flirt with the realm of the esoteric where multiple separate truths can be held together all at the same time. That's why during the Muslim Renaissance, they would take in all the information and writings of different gods all over the world, like the Greek and Roman texts and Christian ideas and all this stuff, because to them at that time in the past, all knowledge was God, regardless of what it looked like. Because in esoterica, that's more the way things are. But unfortunately, monotheism as a culture tends to pressure people to be more literalists and absolutists and singular. In the end, monotheistic culture, which led to industrialization, morphed God into a force of capitalism, which became the greatest god of all. And that's why it just took over the world. It's that golden calf that was worshipped when Moses or God disappeared for 40 nights and days. And so people got freaked out and they decided to worship gold. People have been seeking out different forms of belief, different ideas, just like the Surrealists did after World War I, when they realized all those smart people got us into this massive war that killed millions of people. So they decided maybe all the smarty pants aren't right after all, and we have to dive deep within ourselves into our unconscious minds to create a new truth that we can listen to. So they created automatic writing techniques and will combine weird ideas to form just new feelings, right? It's very esoteric. In recent days, as COVID has showed us how vulnerable we are, and the realization that like hustle culture maybe wasn't all it's cracked up to be, Eastern magical practices are now more than ever being taken seriously by millions of grown folks all across the world. For instance, yoga is part of that. Now yoga is taking the world by storm. But the truth of these practices that we should keep in mind is that they're all free. And they're all coming from within you. And that's how you reshape the world. You don't need special tools to give power to, because when you give power to tools, often you give away too much of yourself to them. So say like you have a favorite tarot deck and then you feel like you cannot do tarot without that one favorite tarot deck, or you have a magic talisman, you lose it and you feel like lost. But guess what? You can make anything magic again. Even Buddha went out to learn the truth of everything, and he met all these mystics and tried all these techniques. He went extreme. Ultimately, he found the middle path, but the way he found it was he decided, forget everyone teaching me stuff. I'm going to go sit down behind this tree and meditate. and find the truth on my own or die. It was a little extreme, but after 50 days or so, it hit him, the truth of everything. And then, he'd spread that all over India and Asia. And even today, something called Vipassana, these silent meditation retreats where you're there for 6 to 7 days. According to many accounts, on day 5, you kind of crack and you see yourself more deeply, and you see yourself in your place in this universe on a massive level. And you don't even need a teacher to do this, because accessing this internal power only requires careful concentration, breath, and sometimes mudras to help you focus your own magic. So I want to talk about mudras in this episode. They're these symbolic gestures, sometimes using the entire body, but often you use your hands and fingers, and you start to see more of this kind of stuff in popular culture every day. Like in Jujutsu Kaisen, they use it. Full Metal Alchemist, Power Rangers do it, and Sailor Moon. Characters in the media use mudras to harness their inner abilities and change the world around them and change themselves. There are types where in Tibetan Buddhism, you string a bow and arrow, mudras to open up the chakra energy channels. Then there's Tai Chi, which also involves a lot of chi flow. Ultimately, all mudras are created and evolve through individual human beings. That's why you have all these weird different elements being introduced over space and time. Therefore, you can design your very own mudras using aspects of your own life, making them unique and deeply personal, but also the most powerful mudras in the entire universe, because you are the universe witnessing itself. Let's get into how to do this. First, you should sit back in your chair or you're on the floor or whatever. Sit comfortably and keep your back as straight as possible if you can. I'd recommend maybe playing some music, maybe closing your eyes, and then slowly and carefully breathing with full, whole breaths. And these deep breaths, they're sometimes known as aspects of prana or wind life-generating energy. Air itself is seen as a life force emanating all around you. This is how you should visualize energy, not as a slow glowing thing like in the movies, but as wind cascading across your body. And that's how you build up the energy. Also, as you breathe in and out, use the techniques of Tonglen meditation, so that every time you breathe in all the evil and suffering of the world, and you exhale love and compassion. This type of breathing can help one connect to the unity of all things, and you embody it through your breath. Now, as you keep breathing in and out, clarify your intention. What aspects of your life do you want to enhance and explore through your own mudra? Is it love? Is it strength or clarity, or maybe even just gratitude or healing? This intention will guide the energy of the mudra you're creating. Now, think deeply and find some inspiration from the different elements of your own life. It could be a cherished memory, a favorite object, a powerful symbol that resonates with your intention, and then you let your creativity flow and bring this inspiration to life. So you might play video games. You might be a barista. You might play an instrument, or you like to cook. Experiment with different hand positions and finger placements, and the overall shape of the mudra will start to emerge. And remember, there are no rules. Let your body find it intuitively as you become an avatar of the entire universe. So once your mudra is formed, practice holding it during your meditation sessions and embrace the evolution of your mudra. Your mudra may naturally evolve, reflecting your own growth and transformation. So in with the horror, out with the love, as you grate Parmesan for the chicken you baked to feed the ones you love. You'll begin to pull an energy all around you, using your body, not just your mind. This incredible tool. And believe it or not, you'll start to feel something, if you just keep at it. Start with 5 minutes of this, 10, and then get to 20 if you can. But the deeper you get into it, the more you're just going to enjoy it. I invite you, play with your mudra so that you can use your body like an instrument in meditation. That way meditation isn't this totally passive thing where you sit still. You're more engaged and your body is part of the meditation. Because ultimately, in the end, meditation should be something that happens all the time, so that you're always in that meditative state in your whole life throughout the day. Because that isolated meditation where you do a little at a time, that's really more like a fortifying practice. It's like working out. So in the beginning, you're weak and you work out and you feel really a lot of pain afterwards. But as you keep working out, you start to feel strong all day long. And that's where you want to take your meditation, where it leaves that little isolated period and permeates through the rest of your life. You know, I've made my own mudras. I've seen other people make their own mudras. And that's why I decided I got to share this with everyone, because you should make your own mudra too. I think we've been held back by kind of following everyone else and just holding fast to doctrines, because ultimately doctrines are always just people-made things that can be changed again and again. So if you like this video, check out this one where I elaborate on Tonglen breathwork and what that's all about, and why it's one of the keys to the most powerful meditation practices you can ever have.